Uh, in this particular program, we want to display all even numbers from 0 up to the user's number. And we want to make sure that the user is entering an even number and not entering accidentally an odd number. All right, let's just think about those variables that we're going to need. We definitely are going to need a user number. We're going to be going through all of the even numbers. Yeah, there you go. We're going to go through a loop, so we're definitely going to need a counter. We're going to generate some sort of an output like 0, 2, 4, 6, 8, so forth and so on. So I probably should create a string. And if I'm going to create a string, then that means I have to include the string library. I don't have to do it this way. So we'll say string and output, and I'll assign that to nothing at first. Let me put a semicolon at the end. All right, so I have an output variable that will collect all of the numbers that will eventually be displayed here, all the even numbers. And I don't know if I need anything else or not. Let's just proceed from here and let's see what happens. So I go over here to the get user input, and I'm going to say enter an even number. And we're going to obtain that number and put that into the variable user number. Now, I need to check to make sure that the user has, in fact, entered an even number. So what I'll do is I'll put this within a while statement, and we'll keep on asking the question of whether or not the user has, in fact, entered an even number. So if it's true that they've entered an even number, or if it's not true, I should say, then we have to keep asking the question. So let's do this. Let's create a bool. Is even, and I'll set that equal to false. So in Arcadia, I've seen mailboxes next to the street with a red flag, right? And the flag is either up or down. If the flag is up, something is being communicated to the mail carrier and also to the owner of the house. And if the flag is down, that's another communication, right? So what is it? Flag up means there's mail in the mailbox. Flag down means that you're telling the mail carrier, I took the mail out. Right?
Yeah, that's ascending.
Okay, ascending, right? You want the mail carrier to take stuff to send it. That's exactly what this is. This is treating a variable as a flag that is either true or false. And so typically what C++ programmers do is they put the word is in front of the flag. So is this even? In fact, I could be more verbose. Is this even? Or is this user num even? I could be verbose like that. I think I'll just go back to is even. So now we have this flag that we set to false. If I go back over here, if I say while is even is false, then, and I'm going to put this code inside of here. Oops, cut and paste. Let's talk about this equals equals symbol. You know that the single equals symbol, we call that the assignment operator. And the assignment operator, what that does is it takes the right-hand side and puts it into the left-hand side. Over here, we'll take the answer false and we'll put that into the variable is even. But within a while statement or within an if statement, you would use the two equals symbol to ask a question. This is a question that's being asked. Is this variable equal to the value false? If it's true, then we go into here. If this is false, then we do not enter the while statement. So we'll say, what's the difference between this and this? Okay, first of all, we call this the assignment operator. The assignment operator means that you are assigning something to a variable. For example, this is saying put or assign to into variable x. So when you see a single equal symbol, that means you are taking the stuff on the right-hand side and putting it into a variable on the left-hand side. That's what a single equal statement means. So what does this mean? This is called equivalence. Equivalence is a relational operator. So, for example, equivalence is used inside of if statements, like this. It's used in while statements, like this. What is equivalence doing? It's asking a question. The question being asked is x equal to 2? Or is output equal to the word Robert? So whenever you see two equal symbols, you are asking a question. Well, what happens if you do this? So I'm going to put this over here. This is a no-no. If I do this, what am I doing? Am I asking a question? What am I doing?
You're assigning.
I'm assigning. Okay. Was that assignment able to happen? Was I able to put 2 into x? Yeah. And so therefore, the answer to this is true. Are you able to put 2 into x? Yes. So the if statement is true. When you really meant to ask, is x equal to 2? So we'll do this over here. You meant this. Is x equal to 2? This is not asking that question. This is saying put 2 into x. True, I was able to do that, so this if statement is true, and that's maybe not what you wanted. So a drastic difference between those two. Make sure that within if statements and while statements, if you are asking if something is equivalent, you are putting 2 equal symbols and not just one, because then you're just performing an assignment statement. All right, so that's why we say if is even is equal to the value false, which it is. I set it up equal to false. So what is this going to do? I'm forcing you to go into the while statement and to ask the user to enter an even number. So the user enters an even number. Good. Now, let's make sure that the user actually entered an even number. If user num mod 2 is equal to 0, and I'll explain this in a second, then is even is true. Else is even is false. Sorry about that. User num. All right. All right, so let's see how this whole thing with modulus works out here. And the modulus is a wonderful mathematical operator that we can use for determining if a user number is even or odd. So we'll do this. Let me scroll down. And let's talk about modulus. And in C++, so I'll say in C++, the modulus, sometimes people call it modulo, operator is the percent symbol. What does modulus do? Modulus finds the remainder of, right? So modulus finds the remainder of. For example, what is 5 mod 2? That's the same thing as 5 divided by 2, and we have a remainder of 1. So 5 modulus, or 5 mod 2 is equal to 1. In other words, what is the remainder of? All right, let's see here. What is 4 mod 2? Or 14 mod 2? Or 20 mod 2? Or any even mod 2?
0.
Good. Any even number mod 2 equals 0. What is any odd number mod 2?
1.
1. So any odd number mod 2 equals 1. Let's see. 5 mod 2. That's a remainder of 1. 7 mod 2. Okay, let me see. 2 goes into 7. 3 times 2 is 6. 7 minus 6, that's 1. 9 mod 2. 11 mod 2. 13 mod 2. Any number mod 2, any odd number mod 2 is going to be 1. So that's why we use this. This is going to ask the question, or hey, is this number, mod 2, equal to 0? Because if it is, then yeah, that number that the user entered is even. So we'll set this flag to even. Now, if that's even, that's true. Is true equivalent to false? No, it's not. So this is a false statement. We jump out of the while statement. If this is true, then we ask this question again, and we keep on asking this question again until the user gets it right. So let me give you a demonstration of this. Run the program. All right, 9, enter an even number. 7, enter an even number. 111, enter an even number. Now I could say something like invalid input and then enter an even number. In fact, let me do that. Stop the program. So how about this? I'll put a curly braces here, curly braces over here, and I'll say cout invalid input, comma, enter an even number. And then we'll endl. Put a couple of blank lines. Let's see what happens. So enter an even number, 7. Invalid input, enter an even number. So we skip a line and we ask that same question again. Well, now we need to figure out what do we do if the user in fact enters an even number. So right now our program stops because we haven't finished the code. This is the first part to make sure that our user input is in fact correct. Okay. And namely that they've entered an even number. Well, now that they've entered an even number, let's display all numbers from 0 up to and including that user number. So I can go into the calculation portion of this. And I think I created a variable counter. Yeah, there it is. So counter, we're going to start that value off at 0 because the user wants all even numbers starting from 0. While the counter is less than or equal to whatever that user number is. If that's the case, then my output variable is going to be whatever the old output variable is, and I'm going to convert to a string, whatever the value of counter is, and then I'm also going to send a space out to this output variable. Then the counter, that needs to be increased from 0 to 2. So counter is going to be whatever the old value of counter is plus 2. So if this is 0, it goes to 2. If this is 2, it's going to go to 4. If it's 4, it's going to go to 8, and so forth and so on. As long as that number is less than or equal to the user number, keep on doing this over and over and over. Well, now that this thing is going to keep on looping until all of the even numbers have been displayed, or not been displayed, have been assigned to the variable output, we are ready to output the result. So we can say cout output, and I'll go to the beginning of the next line by putting an end-else statement. So let me run the program and see what happens. I'll move this aside so you can see the code. So a little bit here. See the code. All right, enter an even number. So 12. 0, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12. Perfect. Okay. Let me make a mistake now. Enter an even number. 15. Invalid input, enter an even number. 111. Invalid input, enter an even number. This is great in that it's stopping the user from entering an invalid number, and now that I enter an even number, it will work.